guys, how's it going? So today is going to be an interesting day. First off, our Hartley Botanic Greenhouse is going to arrive. The guys who are going to be installing it from the Hartley team, they're actually here to receive the order. So they come in to receive the parts to the Hartley, and then they're coming back on July the 19th to start the installation. So it's going to be so much fun to know that our greenhouse is home. It's here. I don't even know that we're going to be able to see much because all the pieces are so padded and packed and that sort of thing, but they'll at least be here. It's also supposed to reach 106 degrees today, so I'm not even sure what I'm going to get done out here. I don't really want to be out working. I don't think anybody should be out working in 106 degree temperatures, but we do have to come out and get everything watered. So I'm going to do that, and then I might get a little bit of like rose pruning done, some lighter work that doesn't require a ton of, you know, physical. Anyway, that's what's going on. I figured I could update you guys on a few things too, how things are doing, some seeds that we planted. We're gonna start here in the vegetable garden with some watering. So here we are, some of it still in the shade, which is quite nice. Things are going really well in here. We've done a shift of crops in a few of the beds. So, you know, we had ranunculus in these two beds. I've got glass gem corn, which I just seeded in a video not that long ago. That needs to be thinned, but it's looking fantastic. In this bed here, we had, well, ranunculus, I think I just said that. Anyway, I planted 9 hot and heavy peppers, which already have some fruit forming. I have 2 of the good-hearted tomatoes, so one here and one here, and those are the ones that stay really small. So you can tuck them on the edge of a bed, and they're perfect. They don't need any support. The dill here in the obelisk is volunteer. I planted that last year, and it came up on its own. Right in the front part here, I have some nasturtiums, which are just starting to pop through. So I've got black velvet and I've got peach. So you can see a few little seedlings starting to emerge. They're such pretty little seedlings too. You can see the anemones are still in this bed, and I left them because they still had some green on them, but they're looking quite dried down at this point. I could probably pop these out and get them into storage and get something else going. Oh, I've got an elm seedling in this boxwood pot. Excellent. Oh, elm seedlings do not come up very easy. Okay, in this bed here, we have a volunteer sunflower that's just blooming its little heart out and looking absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Little bit eaten, but I have done no insecticides in this garden at all this year. No baits, nothing. I'm thinking that's earwig damage right there. We've got earwigs pretty bad. And then we've got some onions and some buried treasure strawberries kind of all mixed together in this bed. We've got our garden treasure tomatoes. Do you remember when I planted these not that long ago? Look how big they are already. I really do need to get on my pruning before they get massive. We seeded some marigolds, Benjamin and I, all the way around the exterior of the tomato beds in here. Get to this side. So we seeded those the same time we seeded the corn and the nasturtiums. We also seeded some calendula in this bed, and you can see they're just starting to come up as well. You can see the little green there. We've got some red cabbage here that still needs to be harvested. However, we don't think it's ready. The heads are still pretty small. And then this bed I kind of have been hands off with. You can see I pulled the kale from here, haven't seeded anything. The onions are from last year. The carrots I planted this year but have not thinned. We've got some cabbage still yet to be harvested in this bed. And then I planted some mystic lavender dahlias. This one looks the best. But I planted 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 in this bed, and then we proceeded to have a super bad windstorm. It was the one where we had like all those storm warnings and 50-mile-an-hour gusts and everything. Anyway, a couple of them completely just died. I think, yeah, it's done. I just need to pull that out. And then several of them like bent over and kind of cracked at the bottom. I really should just probably remove those as well. I think some of them will bounce, but anyway, that was unfortunate. We've got beans in this bed, onions in that bed. These are the garden gem tomatoes, and more marigolds around the exterior. You can see we've got some tomatoes forming in there. And then a mazel basil in this bed. So I do have a drip system in this vegetable garden which runs every day, but when I have seeds going, I always come in with a hose and give them a little bit of extra, especially when it's gonna get so hot, just to get them through. But hold on, here's the truck with the Hartley. Oh my goodness. Here we go, guys.
excited?
Yes. How excited are you?
Oh, I'm real excited.
So everything that is in that truck belongs to the Harley. I'm so excited. I don't want to be in their way, and I need to get things watered. So back to the vegetable garden. Now we need to tackle watering the greenhouse, mainly the things on the inside. You can see the plastic. We need to work out what's going on here. We had all of it bunched up to where air was getting in, and some of it's fallen down. It's probably due to wind and just water. Anyway, we'll get that handled. We need to do it on the other side as well. The only pot I have to water on the outside here is this one, where I just planted the 5 canna rhizomes. I have the ability to tap into drip. I just haven't done it yet. Everything else on drip is doing great out here. I mean, look at this canna. Beautiful. It's the same variety in that container too. And then these are the 2022 recipes for proven winners, and I absolutely adore this one with the licorice vine and the coleus, the sweet potato vine, and the Prince Tut. I love all the foliage. Everything loves it too. Like that one is just growing like crazy. And then, as you know, all of these are on drip. We showed you setting that up. Now it's been kind of interesting. One of the downsides of only putting one plant in a container is, well, for me, it's like, you know, kind of not that awesome in the beginning just to have one plant in the container, but also when you have a hard windstorm, the gomphrena right here, it completely, that's a new one. The old one popped off right at soil level. The wind was so strong it just broke the plant. So if you put all your eggs in one basket with one plant, that can happen. We also had a strawberry in that same windstorm. I don't know what happened to it, but it was completely tattered. So I cut that one back. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with it, but anyway, everything else is doing pretty good. The gomphrena over here had a broken branch, and the strawberry looks okay. So keeping an eye on things. And then here in the greenhouse, we have plants that are just hanging out for projects that we're gonna be working on, which that will slow right now. It'll slow down because we're not gonna wanna be planting when it's 106 and 108 degrees outside. It's not good for us, it's not good for the plants. So we're just gonna kind of maintain mode, keep everything watered and cool, hopefully in here. And yeah, then we'll kind of start working on them again once the temperatures have passed. I do have some gorgeous amaryllis in here though right now. Let me just check these out. Got a nice double, got a white one, got a real pretty pink one, and a red. Oh, and another one starting down here. Hold on. Yeah, pretty. And I always just leave the hose in a big old mess here on the floor, and the water's always on. So I can just pick up the hose and water whatever needs it. So I'm gonna go through and soak everything really well in here. I timed myself once because Aaron didn't believe me that it was a fast job to water the greenhouse. It takes me about 13 minutes to soak everything in here really well. Here we go. Is done. Before we move on, I want to harvest these potatoes. I always usually have a small amount of potatoes that have either been punctured or cut during harvest. It's inevitable, it happens. So I put those all in a basket in our basement and thought, I'm gonna use these first. Promptly forgot about them, and then I found them late this winter, and I thought, well, it would be kind of fun because they had started to sprout, to plant them up and see what happens, like see if they'll grow even though they were damaged. And they did grow. I don't know if we're gonna have any potatoes underneath these plants, but like I said, I want to use this container for something else. So if we get enough potatoes just for dinner, I'll be happy. Oh, there's one. Oh, look at this one. Ooh, that is an amazing potato harvest right there. Whoa. Would you look at that? Isn't that awesome? So varying sizes, all the way from like little itty bitty, a lot of good medium-sized ones, and a couple of like nice bigger ones. I think we'll get several meals out of that. And to take like a container that I was not using at the time, and potatoes that were uneatable at the time, inedible, uneatable, whatever. In fact, I was only able to find remnants from one of the original seed potatoes that I put down in that container. They all kind of rotted away. That was the other thing. I thought that these were getting way too much water in here. So I was kind of half expecting to find a lot of rot, but instead we found a lot of really decent potatoes. How fun. I'm gonna do that again. Because all the rest of my potatoes aren't ready to harvest yet. So to be able to have an early harvest, even if it's small, is really kind of neat. So I think I might do even more of those next year. If I've got available containers, just line them up here in the cold frame, just somewhere slightly warmer. I think you could do it somewhere else too, just somewhere that's a little bit more protected than, you know, typically our garden spaces aren't super protected because we want them in a full sun spot and so forth. But anyway, super fun outcome. Now we need to go water the butterfly garden, which honestly, like yesterday, I went outside. It was really hot yesterday too, and the plants just looked so sad. They're on a drip system and we have it running twice a day. But when you plant at this point of the year, I mean, you just have to expect them to just look so sad in the middle of the day. And then by the evening they had picked back up. But I am going to go along for the next week or so and just supplement water them just a little bit, really just to cool down their roots a little bit in between their normal watering. Everything looks pretty good. The drip system ran this morning and then I just gave it a little bit of extra, but I wish you guys could have seen like the strawberries around the outside. They looked dead yesterday. They were so wilted and flat to the ground, and it's just the heat. And now they've all bounced back and they look good, but I just want to help ease them through this week with just a little extra cool water. And I also wanted to show you the sunflowers. This is the one benefit of planting right smack in the middle of a heat wave. The seeds come up super fast. There's green seedlings coming up all over the place, and it's just been a couple of days. I also went ahead and watered everything else on this patio because none of it has been set up on drip yet, which is something I really should work on. When it's shadier in the afternoon, that might be a really good project out here this week. But I did not water the calla lilies that I just planted. There are several pots, like a couple of them at the base of that boxwood. There's a pot there, a pot right behind the olive. But you'll notice that I don't have a bunch of water on the ground in between containers. I shut the water off, the water flow off between each container for a couple of reasons. One, it's wasteful, but also if water hits the ground, weeds will grow. That's why, I'm gonna show you the rain wand I use. It's so important for me to have this sort of thumb release. So watch, you can water a pot off, water a pot off really easily. So it just helps me control where the water is going and how much of it I'm giving. Since we're over here and I have the hose on, we're gonna go ahead and refresh all the chickens' water, and I'll also show you some of the other things I'm doing to help them get through this heat wave. First off, I have to show you that the Prairie Sun Rudbeckias I started from seed are starting to bloom. I'm so excited. We've got the amazing gray poppies blooming. The artichoke looks really good, and the artichoke looks different than the ones I have out in the vegetable garden. Super weird. This one is much taller. The ones out in the cut flower garden are really flat. And we've got the Black Beauty. Is it Black Beauty? Is that what it's called? Pink cushion flower? I think that's the variety name. Anyway, it's gorgeous. Okay, but that's not the point. You can see inside the run, I popped up a temporary umbrella. Their run stays relatively shaded. It's kind of crazy. I think just having some shrubbery around it helps. We planted this birch tree 2 years ago, I think now, and that helps. We have an ash tree right here, but it doesn't cast shade until the late part of the day, but it does help during that blazing hot sun part of the day. They're all out and about this morning, which makes me happy because the three black hens were really broody there for a while, and I was having a hard time keeping them out of the nesting box. So here's their water right here. Hey girls. Hey, how are you doing today? It's not super hot yet. Anyway, this is a heated one. I can plug it in the winter and it keeps it from freezing, but I just use it throughout the whole year. But I refresh that a couple times a day during the heat so it's nice and cool and fresh because chickens are a mess. and they tend to kick stuff up into their water and make it all yucky. There's their food right over there. You can see, I actually don't use that heat lamp, and I've stopped using that. I don't do that anymore, so I should take that out. It's such a fire hazard, you guys. I've learned a lot. Anyway, I think I've got it wired up there. I need to take it down. Anyway, back window is open. There is hardware cloth on that one because that's an exterior window, so nothing can come in here. And there's one of the guys working on our concrete for the greenhouse. This window is just open to their run, so they can actually fly up from the outside and roost there if they want to, and the door is open. So we keep as much airflow going through here as possible. I also, as you scan around here, I have a fan installed and that's running all the time, so it helps kind of push air around. Don't you get in that box. Here's some treats. Okay, so out here in their run, there's the umbrella, and you can see that big black, that's actually a pot saucer. That's the biggest one I had. I bought those for the blue spruces that we put up on our wood patio for Christmas last year to protect the surface, but it works as a really good pool. So I come out here and I run cool water in it several times throughout the day, and then I also put ice in it. So this morning I just need to dump it, and I actually like to create a little mud puddle, and the chickens love it when I create a mud puddle out here for them, and they'll kind of cruise around in that. They'll get in that, they drink a lot out of that, and then they'll take dust baths as well, which helps cool them down. Look at her. Ow. Hey. My goodness. You guys act like I never feed you. They'll all get pretty close, but Bev's the only one who will eat out of my hand. Probably because I raised her from a lot younger. I got the black ones as adults. Another thing you can do is feed them cold or frozen treats. So you remember the cabbage that we harvested the other day? Some of them had aphids on them. So what I did is I harvested them, rinsed all the bugs off of them, all of them that I could see, and then popped them in the root cellar. And I've just been cutting those up and bringing them out here so they're nice and cold and they can peck at those. You can also, like kitchen scraps that you have, put them in a bowl, cover them over with water and freeze it, and then put that whole frozen chunk just out in their run. And as it melts, they can kind of peck at it and get some nice cold treats, which really helps them out. Okay, so I need to address the water. It gets a little tricky because I can't get in and out of that door very easily anymore, but anyway, we'll make it happen. I could sit out here and watch these chickens all day long. All right, the chickens are handled for now. I'll come back out later and refresh their water, make sure they're doing okay. But I've got a couple more hoses to pull around kind of the back part of the house by the kitchen entrance. We have several things back there that are not on drip, and none of the window boxes are on drip, so I need to water those real quick. So back here, it stays shaded in the morning. It's actually quite nice. It feels good right here, even though it's so hot out. I've got an umbrella set up because I move it around based on what I feel like needs shade at the moment. Right now I'm shading these heucherellas in the afternoon. They've mellowed out in color a lot since I planted them, and I'm wondering if they would color up better or maintain their color if they got a solid block of morning sun and then protection in the afternoon. Because right now when that afternoon sun comes through, they just like crisp up. And it could be because they're not established enough yet. I'm gonna let them stay here this season, and then once we get into next season, into the hot part, we'll see how they do. If they continue to do that and like wilt down every day in the sun, I'll move them. See all of these things right here, all of those I have to hand water. They don't need water every day though, thankfully, because they're in the shade. The pot where I've got this clematis does not need water because I've got it on drip, as does, oh, look at the pink mint clematis, you guys. Look at how gorgeous it is. Just started to bloom. I just love it. I love it because it's such a delicate looking vine. It doesn't take over the trellises. Is that the plural for trellises? Is that right? Trellis? Anyway, you can still see all of the trellises beyond the vine, which I love because I love the way they look. I love the architecture of them. Japanese maple, the top died out of it, and then it started pushing new growth. So I cut the dead off. I'm giving it a little time to see what it does because this part's still healthy. We've got a wicker pot with a clematis in here that I have to water. We supplement water all of the incredible hydrangeas here because they get nailed middle of the day with the hot sun, and they are in full gorgeous bloom. I mean, look at this. Do you remember when we put these in? They were like half smashed. They were in a spot down at the garden center where a big maple tree blew during a windstorm. It blew over and it just landed on top of a bunch of these. So anyway, I decided to bring them home because I knew that they would rebound. It took them a little while. And there's still some that are on the smaller side, like the ones that were more smashed than others. But I'm really, really happy with them. Then we also need to water these back sun porch pots, which you guys, I'm kind of considering swapping out these plants. I think I need to be a tiny bit more mindful of what I put in these containers because they're not on drip, so I do have to hand water them. The spring plants with the boxwoods, they were great. I hardly ever had to water them. They just always, even if the soil was dry, I mean, you guys know pansies and violas, they just tend to do really well. They're tough. These impatiens are kind of like, they're kind of irritating in a way because I'll water them early in the day and by afternoon they're just all wilted again, and I feel like I have to drag the hose out multiple times a day. Like these, I watered twice yesterday. This side of the pot looks wilted, this side of the pot looks fine. So sun and shade. These look good until late morning where they get a little bit of sun before they're protected again in the afternoon, and they totally wilt down as well. I think it might just be a heat thing, maybe not a water thing so much, because yeah, I mean, this pot has the same exact soil moisture consistency, but we've got half of it that looks like that. So anyway, I don't know if I want to fight that all season. And then in this bed, I've got some coleus that I supplement water. I water this container here. I've popped some new things like coleus and some lamium in here that they do have a drip system, but I always give them a little bit of extra water just in case during this hot spell. And then over here with the same hose, I've been supplement watering the echinaceas down here. I need to cut back the delphinium. See, I got them staked, but too late. They were already all misshapen from being on the ground. Anyway, I need to clean those up. But the echinaceas have been needing a little bit of extra water. And then further down here, I was watering this little corner. I just planted this up, you guys. I think it's really cute. It's got a little bit of water stress or heat stress. We've got white bleeding hearts in the background, and then some Hudson Bay hostas, and then some annuals. So Golden Dreams coleus, some Surefire rose begonias. I do have some Bewitched After Midnight Ipomea sweet potato vine, but look what the earwigs are doing. So I need to bait around these. And I think I'm out of bait. I'll have to go check. So basically, I just need to pull the hose all the way around the exterior of the house and just hit random plants with water, as well as all the window boxes and containers that are not on drip. Watering is all done. And I did want to point out that in this kitchen bed, I did add a few extra plants recently, as in last night. I came out here late and planted some of the Newly Noir. It's a brand new coleus for next year. Thought it'd be really pretty as a drift through here. And then I planted a few, let's see, right here, double up pink begonias, and then a few sweet potato vines, some darker colored ones. Erin has been treating the hydrangeas with chelated iron, and they are starting to look a lot better. So they're starting to green up a bit. That one has a little bit more chlorosis, but it is working. Okay, so now that that is all done and all the plants are kind of as prepped as I can make them, and the chickens are prepped for the heat, I want to show you the Hartley all out on the ground. And then we're gonna go inside and we're gonna work on inside projects until the chicken misting system arrives. And at that point, we'll come back out and install that. All right, guys, it's all wrapped up, but it's still so exciting because I can see like the end pieces down here. I can see the framing. There's just all the glass is in that crate right there. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that this is a Hartley sitting right here in our driveway. How did that even happen? Oh, and here's the top piece. Look, with the little finial detail. Oh, it's just so exciting. And they are making progress on the stem wall. Hopefully they'll get that poured sometime soon, like maybe this week. And then we will be well on our way. See, this is where we're at with the building portion. They're getting all of the forms put up right now for the stem wall. Already have the footers. This is the interior of the wall with all the rebar. You can see the cold frame kind of outline up front there. And then you can see where the door comes out the back right here. So exciting. All right, guys, so we'll just wait until that chicken mister system comes in. and we'll come back out. Okay guys, the misting system arrived this afternoon. It is currently 102 degrees out, but it actually doesn't feel too bad. I don't know if I'm getting used to it. I mean, of course it's better in the shade than it is out in the sun, but the chickens aren't even panting at this point. The run is in a lot more shade at the moment. It's almost 7:30 right now in the evening. So I thought we would take a look at this mister system. And you know, based on the fact that we're here most of the time, I may not even run this mister system very much. I might hook it up to a timer if we plan to be gone for the afternoon, so that I can go on for 5 or so minutes every once in a while. Because the thing about misters is that chickens don't really want to be like right under a mister system or in it. They want the cool ground afterward, because the quickest way really to cool down a chicken is to get their feet cool or to get them cool from the inside. So like, I'm gonna give them frozen blueberries this evening. And fresh cool water. So the mister is just there to kind of provide that damp, and that's what I'm doing right now with the garden hose. I just have it on all the time and it's sitting right in front of the run, so every time I walk by I can just head over there, just squirt a little water inside the run, and it kind of does the same thing. But just in case we go somewhere, I want the peace of mind that everything's still going to be cool in there. So let me show you this system. It was only like $14 on Amazon. So I hope it works well, because I was kind of reading the instructions. This is kind of funny. Okay, here's all of the pieces right here. So that's what I was thinking of doing with it. Just having a few misters, since it's not a super huge area, somewhere on the ground where I could move it around too. Oh yeah, but it says these are read this when you have any question. That's how it's written. And then it says, like this one is the nozzle fitting leaks badly, how to fix it. Wrap the Teflon tape on the end of tube and then insect into nozzle fitting. Okay, I hope that this works well. We've got our hose end right here. Here's the tubing. Here's the little connectors. We've got the, oh, here they are. Here's the actual misters right there. So I think we'll start with 4 like this picture shows and just kind of go from there. And these are my instructions, so I'm just going to follow what they say to do. I will only link this mister system if it actually works well in the end. So anyway, let me get it all set up here and then we'll take a look. While I'm working on the mister system, I think we'll go give them these blueberries so that they don't thaw out on the chair. We got to go in the front door of the coop, okay?
Oh, that's so cold.
It is cold, huh?
It's kind of like ice cream.
Yeah. There we go. Yum, yum.
Look, he's stepping on them.
Mm-hmm.
He's stepping on them.
She thinks you have mealworms.
I'm not a mealworm. He's going back to his home. See?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go away because he doesn't go away. Ever. Oh, I'm gonna try some.
Oh, not since it's been in the chicken coop, sweetie. I've got fresher ones in the freezer.
Oh.
Yeah. I can give you some when we go inside.
Hey, it's stuck in there. I'm gonna open that. I can do one.
How big of a circle do we want? Like this, maybe?
Oh, it's gone.
Went back there somewhere, buddy.
No, it's gone. Well, we can't find. Oh, you guys, it works so well. Look at that. I just used 4 of the little misters right there, and I just set it on the spot I just wet down with the hose. What I'm going to probably do tomorrow is I'm going to come out and anything that they leave, like the cabbage chunks that they haven't eaten, I usually kind of try to rake that up and keep it a little bit clean. It helps kind of keep flies down and that sort of thing. But I think this is going to work out great because it'll keep just this one area a little bit more on the moist side, and then that side can stay more dry for their dust baths. And the kit right here came with hardware to attach it. Like you could run the tubing up and, you know, have the mist point down or point out or whatever. But since this was just kind of a trial, I just wanted to see how it was going to work. I decided to go this route, which I have plenty. It came with, I think, 10 emitters, and I have plenty of the tubing left and the fittings. So if I decide to do it a different way, I can do that. And I'm seeing that there's no leaking at fittings. There's no leaking. I've got it just attached to the hose out there, and it's not leaking. So far, I think it's great. To me, it feels really good. All right, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Kind of a random assortment of stuff.
that went on today, but I think that's how it's just going to be over the next week. It's just going to be, you know, try to get whatever we can get done early in the day, and then just take a break for the hot part of the day. And for those of you who are dealing with really hot temperatures, I hope you're doing okay. I hope your gardens are thriving and surviving it. And then for those of you who are dealing with lots of rain, I hope that you're doing okay as well. We're kind of having opposite problems at the moment. Boy, I could do with a day of rain, couldn't you, Benjamin? Yeah. But the wonderful thing about heat is that it does make things grow fast. So that's exciting. I mean, I swear, if I put a ruler out next to my corn, I could just clock in inches how much it's growing every day. It's just so fast. So that's fun to see. It's fun to see things really take off. So anyway, hope you guys are doing great, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.